The following show is brought to you by the CANUCKLEHEADS Broadcasting Company, eh? All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the CANUCKLEHEADS Show. How's it going, eh? I'm Frankie from New West Reset channel.
I'm Chris over at Old World Exploration.
So, episode lucky 13 already. Can you believe it there, bud?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. Time flies when you're being a knucklehead.
Yeah, we're hitting all sorts of spots in the Canadian wilderness.
Yeah, we're in the prairies this time, looking at Regina, Saskatchewan. That's right, Saskatchewan. It's the capital of the province, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Is it a perfect rectangle, Saskatchewan? One of those provinces that are just cut clean.
Yeah, there's no funny jagged edges. It's not like Alberta where it looks like somebody took a bite out of the lower left-hand corner.
BC took a bite out of the left-hand corner.
That's right, Charles.
That's us.
Give me some more of them trees and mountains. I'm hungry.
That's right.
Speaking of you out in BC, how's it going out there? How you doing?
It's going good. It's very, I suppose, seasonal right now. We got a lot of leaves rustling around, and getting the frost in the mornings, and Halloween just around the corner, so the kids are excited.
Yep, the leaves have turned around here they've turned and have already mostly shaken loose. And yeah, it's chilly in the morning, chilly overnight. The days are still fairly sunny and warm-ish. So, it's the calm before the storm. You know that, right, buddy?
Yeah, this is what I hear. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know it, eh?
Oh, I know it.
So, hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the show, the live show. As usual, we are broadcasting simultaneously on Old World Exploration and New West Reset. Links below for the channels and all of our socials, all our deets. We can get a hold of a couple of fellas, as well as links for everything we're going to be covering. I've got some shenanigans that we're going to look at, and then you've got some fantastic photographs. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what do you say we say hello to everybody?
Good idea.
Ms. Grandma is here. Hello. How you doing? Howdy, Charles. Mega is in the house. Good to see you, Mega Triumph. Turtle's here, everybody. Turtle. PCS World, hello. Philip's here as well.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Doodle Kids Art, hello. And Russ W. from Alaska. Hello. Way up in Alaska.
We have a local.
From Wildwood, Alberta. Look at that. A local gal. Howdy to you. Healer at heart. Hippie's here as well. Howdy, Hippie. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Midweek show here. Wednesday. For me, it's 8 p.m. or just after 8 p.m. Mountain Time. It's 7 in the evening for you out there?
Just after 7. Yeah, you missed Super Ghost. Hello from Regina. I don't know. We have a local in the chat. That's what I was talking about. Somebody from Regina.
There we go. Oh, no, the chat is flying fast and furiously. The father's here as well. Bless you. Frankenstein. Hello. Welcome. Marita's here, hidden in plain sight. Jabberoo Joe. What do you know? Jabberoo Joe. Hello, everybody. So, yeah, midweek show. We're looking at Regina, Saskatchewan. What do you say we quit messing around and get into it? Maybe start with showing everybody.
Yeah, I would cut to the chase, I suppose.
Where we're talking about here. Wait, where? Who? Where?
Yeah,
Where
because
is that exactly?
they probably don't know unless you've done your homework.
Or unless you're Canadian there,
Or if
eh?
you're Canadian, yeah.
Then you know for sure. And you're right, by the way. Saskatchewan is very rectangular shaped as a province.
Hmm.
And it's one of the two landlocked, one of the only two landlocked provinces in all of Canada land. The other being here in Alberta. Everywhere else touches some kind of body of water or Great Lake or ocean or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's get it on the thing here on the goggle machine.
Oh yeah.
Right here. Sort of pretty much south central Saskatchewan. Kind of in the grain belt, the Canada's breadbasket. And I think it's right on the Trans-Canada Highway. Yeah, there's the number one highway right through. Well, there's a ring road, but you know.
Yeah.
So there it is, almost smack dab in the middle of Canada land.
Yeah. Have you been there, Frankie?
I have, but only for a day. Yeah. It was in the summer, and it's actually beautiful there in the summertime.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Saskatchewan gets a lot of sunshine. Lots of sunshine.
Good people in
3
Saskatchewan.
a.m. in Wales.
Wales, that's where my father's from. Wales, born in Wales. Newport.
Wow, thank you for shooting in at 3 a.m. Appreciate it. Scottish Tart. Welcome. Sorry, I cut you off there. I just couldn't believe that somebody's watching at 3 a.m. way over in Wales. Aside from Hippie, of course. Hippie's in Wales.
Hippo. I think that's Welsh. Oh, Hippie is
Hippie
also.
Shake is in Wales.
Oh, wow.
And Hippo in Yiglau.
That's a weird coincidence. Similar names.
I probably butchered that because I don't speak Welsh. But that's an old language, you know. It's one of them really old languages.
Yeah, the land of my fathers. It's my old man's from there.
There you go. It's near Cardiff. I'm just throwing that out there because that's the only place I know of.
Not far. Yeah, it's on the south. It's on the south side of South Wales. Yeah.
So, what do you think Wikipedia has to say about Regina, Saskatchewan? We always like to show the what Wikipedia has to say.
Maybe a bit of wheat. Something about wheat. Something about trains. Some hockey. Maybe some hockey. Maybe not some hockey. Not really a hockey hub, I guess. But.
Bingo! You probably nailed all three, I imagine. You know, and then of course don't forget, you know, the cattle and the oil.
Yeah.
Regina, Saskatchewan. Well, according to the Wikipedia here, is the capital city of the Canadian province of Saskatchewan. You got a cool flag. Got a lion there with 3 sheaths of wheat. Sheaths? Is that what those are? Bushels? Yeah. Sheaths? I don't know.
You got it.
And then I guess that's the provincial flower, whatever that is. City is the second largest in the province. Really? Saskatoon bigger?
Apparently, yes.
Huh. There you go. I'm shocked already. We're 10 minutes into the show and I'm already shocked. It's a commercial center for southern Saskatchewan. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Regina City Council. Yeah, okay. Oh, geez. What is this, amateur hour? Look what I'm doing. I'm all over the place here, buddy. Sorry. I'm all over the place. Slow it down. Okay, so here we go. Before Saskatchewan was called Saskatchewan, it was part of the Northwest Territories. Same as Alberta. And before that, it was Assiniboia. So they like to muddy the waters.
Yeah, it gets confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah, they love it. They just love it. So it was previously the seat of government of the Northwest Territories, of which current province of Saskatchewan and Alberta originally formed. The district of Assiniboia. The site was previously called Wascana, from the Cree word of sideways triangle with some scribbles. Oh, buffalo bones. There you go. You got to get that buffalo narrative. Jeez, we missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was named Regina, Latin for queen. So that's, well, I guess technically Regina is Latin for queen, right? But we pronounce it Regina, not Regina.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Anyway.
Here we go. Here we go.
Anyways, the name was proposed by Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Louise, who was the wife of the Governor General of Canada, the Marquis of Lorne. Posh. Unlike other planned cities in the Canadian West, it's on its treeless, flat plain. Regina has few topographical features other than the small spring runoff Wascana Creek. Early planners took advantage of such opportunity by damming the creek to create a decorative lake to the south of the central business district with a dam a block and a half west of the later elaborate Albert Street Bridge.
Planned cities, that gets me.
So it's a planned city. And in the early stages, already they're saying, let's beautify this place by putting in a decorative lake.
Yeah, and naming it, giving it a name before it really becomes a city.
Yeah. Naming it after the Queen, no less. Queen Victoria, no less.
Oh, hello, my loyal subjects. We are so pleased and utterly amused that you've named your glorious city after the royal sovereign, your rightful and true queen. So it is said, so it shall be.
Anyway.
What an empire.
There's my terrible Queen Victoria.
No, it's not terrible. It's fantastic. I love that.
I've just insulted half of the people watching. Anybody that's from the UK or whose parents or grandparents are from the UK, right now they're like unsubscribed.
No, Frank. They like to poke fun at the Queen just as we do, for sure.
Of course, who wouldn't? Come on. Who wouldn't? I mean, look at that mug.
Don't enlarge
it. Anyway. So yeah, it was a planned city. But right away, let's get to decorating it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Regina's importance was further secured when the new province of Saskatchewan designated the city its capital in 1906. Wascana Center, created around the focal point of Wascana Lake, remains one of Regina's attractions and contains the provincial legislative building, both campuses of the University of Regina, the First Nations University of Canada Land, and the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. Wow, the conservatory is there as well. College, the Science Center, Mackenzie Art Gallery, and the Center of the Performing Arts. Wowee. So they just built a lot around that
fake lake.
That man-made lake. Suddenly very important around that lake.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, Mark. Miss Grandma has a question for you, Frankie. I don't think we should proceed until you answer that question.
Okay. Ms. Grandma, I have a question for you guys. Okay. So I shudder to think. What does coat of arms for Alberta, or why does coat of arms have a unicorn? It's so weird. That is representative of one of the royal families of England, but I can't remember which line. And then, of course, the other is the lion standing on its hind legs, the rampant lion, which, of course, is the Scottish. Alberta steeped in Scottish, apparently.
Yeah, look at you go.
But I think that's what the unicorn is. And then depending on the color of the horn, whether it's red or gold or whatever, denotes some other stuff I remember reading somewhere. But I'm not an expert on unicorns. I'm not a unicornologist. But it is weird. I will agree. It's very strange. Yeah, same reason why you have dragons as dinosaurs. Maybe unicorns did exist at one point. Why are they not called Unihorns, by the way, I wonder?
Good question.
Residential neighborhoods include precincts beyond the historic city center. Our historically or socially noteworthy neighborhoods named Lakeview, the Crescents, shouldn't it be the Croissants? Both of which lie directly south of downtown. Immediately to the north of Central is the Old Warehouse District. Focus of shopping, nightclubs. Yeah, they like to do that with...
A lot of brick in the warehouse district.
Yeah, they do that in a lot of cities, at least up here in Canada land, don't they? When they revitalize the old brick buildings in the old warehouse districts of your city, it becomes like this hipster kind of cool scene place where there's restaurants and pubs and
put a microbrewery in somewhere.
Absolutely, you got to have the microbrewery there, eh, bud?
Mm-hmm.
Get that delicious micro beer going there with a nice hops flavor and maybe a little bit of a grapefruit finish, so it's nice and fresh. Anyway. Of course, in big box stores, have got to muscle in on the action. Of course.
Yeah.
So in researching Regina, no great fire, you'd be surprised to hear, because I think pretty much every city or town that we've covered on the show has had a great fire. They dodged that bullet in Regina. They like to be really unique over there, eh? So they decide we're just going to have a cyclone instead. 1912, the Regina Cyclone destroyed much of the town.
Crazy.
It wasn't even a city in 1912 yet. It was still a town.
Oh, I beg to differ. Wait till you see the pictures.
Right? Kind of had a feeling you were going to say something like that, buddy. In the 1930s, the Regina riot brought further attention in the midst of the 1930s drought and Great Depression, which hit the Canadian prairies particularly hard with their economic focus on dry land grain farming. So just like the American Midwest, same kind of rubber stamp narrative there, it seems. Mm-hmm. The CCF, now the NDP, the New Democratic Party, a major left-wing political party in Canada land, formulated its foundational Regina Manifesto. Sounds very ominous. Of 1933. Note the number in the year there of their manifesto in Regina. In 2007, Saskatchewan's agricultural and mineral resources came into new demand, and Saskatchewan was described as entering a new period of strong economic growth. Of course, Regina was established as the territorial seat of government in 1882 when Edgar Dewdney, okay. Dude. The lieutenant governor of the Northwest Territories insisted on the site over the better developed Battleford, Troy, and Fort Capel. He's like, no, we're putting a town here. There's 3 better places over there, eh, bud? No, we're going here. Why? Because shut up, that's why.
Just do what I say.
Right on the rolling plains. Anyway, these communities were considered better locations for what was anticipated to be a metropole for the Canadian Plains. These locations had ample access to water, yada, yada. But then the railroad came in, of course.
Of course. Commercial
considerations prevailed, and the town's authentic development soon began. Their authentic development. What does that mean? As opposed to their inauthentic or fake development?
Look at that.
I don't know what that means. Soon began as a collection of wooden shanties. Oh, of course. Oh, and the tent shacks. Yes, where the lower half's wood and the top half is a tent.
Yeah.
The fur trapper cabin clustered around the site designated by the CPR, the Canadian Pacific Railway, for its future station. So, like, we're probably going to put a station over there at some point when the railroad, we build it through here, eh? So maybe put your town there. So everybody's like, all right. They put up some shanty shacks in anticipation.
Yeah.
Seems that way. And of course, this Dewdney guy had substantial land holdings just a little bit east of where all this was going down. Somebody was in the know. They attained national prominence in 1885 during the Northwest Rebellion, when troops were mostly able to be transported by train on the CPR from Eastern Canada as far as Capel Station. See, that's why they wanted to. Why don't it settle here? The train's already here, man.
Yeah. The railroad.
So they use it as a jumping off point to have a bunch of skirmishes with, the crazy wild engines, apparently. 1890, when the completion of the Capel Long Lake and Saskatchewan Railway linked Regina with Saskatoon and Prince Albert. Subsequently, the rebellion's leader, Louis Riel, was tried and left to dangle in Regina.
Louis Riel. Big
Yeah.
part of Canadian history. They teach us all about that fella in school.
Yeah. Starting in around grade 7, at least for me, anyways.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It was around grade 7. I first remember hearing about the Red River Rebellion and Louis Riel.
Yep.
Who now, in hindsight, everybody's saying, "Oh, actually, sorry, he was a Canadian hero. Eh? We shouldn't have let him dangle like that. Oopsies, too late. Sorry."
Yeah.
Regina was incorporated as a city June 19th, 1903. Wait a second. Didn't they call it a town?
06 up top there, I think.
In 1912, they're calling it a town. But in 1903, they're saying it's a city.
Oh, it becomes the capital in 05, I see.
So,
or 06.
Which one is it? Like, is it 1912, it's still a town, or 1903, it's incorporated as a city?
I don't believe you.
Anyway, James Hawkes declaring Regina has the brightest future before any place in the Northwest Territories. Several years later, the city was proclaimed the capital of the 1905 province of Saskatchewan. 23rd of May, 1906, by the first provincial government, led by Premier Walter Scott. The monumental Saskatchewan Legislative Building was built between 08 and 1912.
Oh, they hopped to it, didn't they?
They got her done just in time before the Regina Cyclone hit. Whew! That was a close one, boys. We got her done, eh? Then, of course, the Great Depression hits, so you can pretty much just read the same narrative that you would in any of the Midwest American states to get your further information on that, because guaranteed it's rubber stamped.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Of course, the Hudson's Bay, our old friends, Hudson's Bay Fur Trading Company, large presence in Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
There since the 1600s.
Inheritors.
Big time. Along with the CPR too, I think. I mean, a lot of towns that were planned, cities and towns, were now coming to find out, and the railroad had a lot to do with it. Most especially the CPR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it gives you a little bit of, their climate. They get a lot of sunshine, actually, in Saskatchewan. Like, even in the dead of winter, they get a lot of big, bright, cloudless blue skies and beautiful sunshine, even though it's minus 30 Celsius.
Gotta be windy there, too. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. There are parts of Saskatchewan that are pretty breezy, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of other links below that kind of give a lot of the same. But this one here is from the Canadian Encyclopedia. I'll just share a little bit of it here real quick, because it does give a little bit more into the Indigenous First Nations.
Mm-hmm.
The Plains Cree and the Ojibwa were the first inhabitants of what is now southern Saskatchewan. The millions of buffalo, or wood bison, that roamed the southern prairies provided them with food, clothing, and the teepee, of course.
Yes. Classic.
That sheltered them during the harsh winters. Tell you what, you build a teepee in the Saskatchewan winter and let me know how you survive. Probably not very well. You got to really plan ahead if you're going to survive a Canadian winter prairie storm.
Well, it's like
in
camping.
A buffalo hide teepee.
Just like camping. Nothing wrong with that.
No, you got to know what you're doing. But yeah, sure, it's just camping. Just don't forget to bring the back bacon and the beer, and you'll be all right, bud.
Can of beans.
Yep, you're all good with can of beans.
Let me just put that on this here fire, and everything will be fine, by golly. I'll just wait out this 7 months of winter there.
Right. The arrival of Europeans in the western interior of North America and the rise of the fur trade introduced blankets and cloth, metal tools, firearms, and horses. but also, smallpox, measles, and the flu. Sorry, it's
Oh,
bad trade. It's a terrible trade.
Yeah.
1870s, the buffalo virtually disappeared due to overhunting. Not by the native people, that is.
Hmm.
Purposely by the railroad, who hired buffalo hunters. Drive out the buffalo, you drive out the indigenous people that rely on the buffalo, and then you don't have to worry about building your little planned town. In 1869, the Canadian government purchased Rupert's Land, comprising what is now the 3 prairie provinces from the Hudson's Bay Company, which had been granted the title to this vast area by King Charles II of England in 1670.
That's going way back.
So that's when the Hudson's Bay Company first formed, when they were granted their charter to have exclusive monopoly on the fur trade in basically what is now Canada. So 2 years later, the Canadian government began to negotiate a series of treaties. 7 such treaties were signed with Prairie nations, indigenous, that is, Native Indians. During the period from 1871 to 1877, so-called number treaties provided for the surrender of the Aboriginal title in return for cash payments, creation of reserves, and assistance in farming. The Plains Cree and the Plains Ojibwa negotiated and signed Treaty 4 in 1874. And then the Europeans rolled in, and then the railroad got underway, and the rest is history.
In that 1870s time period, there seems to be a lot of restructuring going on everywhere at that time.
Where's everybody coming from if all of these projects are going on simultaneously, a guy has to ask.
Yeah, huge influx everywhere.
Yeah, it's
Exponential.
Yeah. And you got to think, well, the railroad was already in by then, so the workers were coming in to where the jobs were. Yeah, but they were building everywhere at the same time, according to the official story. Didn't matter whether it was Regina, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto. Some exceptions like Montreal and St. John's and Nova Scotia, where their narrative comes much earlier, but they were all built at the same time as each other.
Yeah, like just different waves of development timelines, it seems to be across certain regions.
So is there really that much, not only skilled, but unskilled labor to go around for all of these construction projects and all of these other things going on, these planned cities and towns being developed all at the same time?
Yeah.
I'm just asking. It's very unusual to just hand wave away the amount of work, the man hours required, and the support for all the men. You got to feed them. They got to have a place to stay. They got to have a place to, shit, shower, and shave, if you pardon my French.
Mm-hmm.
Like the railroad, they could explain that by saying, well, they slept in the cars, the rail cars, because they did have sleeping cars. All right, but what about, prior to the railroad? When these guys were out surveying supposedly these towns and laying out the streets in anticipation of the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
How did everybody get there? Horse and buggy, apparently, across the prairies.
Yeah.
Dodging the wild, crazy, red-skinned, crazy Indians. Look out now. They'll scalp you.
Yeah.
Really? Wait, I thought you just said that they were starving from the buffalo being hunted to extinction. How are they mustering up the gumption to chase after wagon trains and locomotives and pioneers? That's crazy.
It's really lacking from the historical narrative, right? It's we built this city. These are the people that built these structures. You don't have really much part of anywhere.
Any names that you can find that are involved in the building of these structures are the architects, and if you look them up and do even a half-assed search, you find their names attached to like hundreds sometimes of projects. Yeah. How can they be responsible for designing and overseeing the construction of hundreds of projects in, let's say, a 20-year period of their career as an architect or something?
Yeah,
it's just
backstory.
It's very questionable at best. Or Mark says our melted reality. Horse and buggy and a can of beans. A lot can get done with horse and buggy and a can of beans.
That's right.
So this article I found is from the leaderpost.com. This is local news of Regina. Roadwork digs up Regina streetcar history. There isn't much you can buy with a nickel nowadays. Yeah, there isn't much you can buy with a nickel nowadays, but in 1911, you could have bought your ride on one of the city's streetcars. You know, the trams, the trolleys. Early last week, a piece of that transportation history, the old rail lines, was unearthed by Regina construction crews working on 11th Avenue. So there's the photo right there. They're working on the street, and what's that, 8-10 inches below the street, or maybe even sidewalk level. They're doing something here, and whoopsie, look what we found underneath the road.
Yeah, they just paved right over those things, right? It's a lot of the time.
Speaking of the railroad, you know, I mean, they're so proud of their being a railroad town. You think this kind of thing would be a tourist trap for a city like Regina. You know what I mean?
That's really late to be bringing in the streetcars too.
1911?
I'm pretty sure they call that the start date for when they introduced that. I was looking into that as well. It's like, geez, that's really coming in late on that.
Yeah, that's even later than Calgary, actually.
Yeah.
By a few years, not many, but a few years. And Calgary's further west, so that goes against the narrative of, the West expanding as they move westward, manifest destiny, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to finish the. It says here. It just reminds us when we start to dig a little deeper, there is evidence of times gone by underneath the pavement that we now see on a day-to-day basis. And we don't see it. That we now see on a day-to-day basis, but we don't see it. Yeah, they don't see the times gone by underneath. So a little bit of some truth slipping out there, maybe.
Yeah, interesting.
Story of the Regina Municipal Railway. Hatcher recounted last week how the streetcar system started in 1911 with 4 cars. Basically ran the first streetcars between downtown and the exhibition grounds. Said Hatcher, who now lives in Edmonton. They really couldn't even reach a local expert for this? Okay, Edmonton and Alberta, but all right. With an estimated 30,000 people in 1911, Regina's population in 1911 was booming and growing every year.
Of course.
So there's only 30,000 people, and they had their own private municipal streetcar railway trolley.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the little town north of Calgary where my parents live, when we moved there was 4,000 people. There's now about 70,000 people. We moved there in 1980. So in the past 45 years, it's gone from about 4,000 to 70,000.
Oh, wow.
And they just got their own city bus line about 10 years ago. City bus.
Yeah.
Before that, if you want to get anywhere, you had to call an Uber or a rideshare service of some kind or a taxi. They didn't have a city bus. So, here they are, a little town of 30,000, and they've got streetcars. So the system provided a way for people to get around and to get to various residential areas that were extended out beyond the downtown areas to get to some of the attractions. By 1913, the number of streetcars grew from 4 to about 35.
Okay. I want to stop you right there if you don't mind. When was the cyclone? 1912?
Was the Regina Cyclone was 1911?
1912, which is...
So yes, 1912, June of 1912.
Unfazed by the cyclone, the streetcar narrative grows exponentially.
Yeah, they had 31 cars in 2 years.
Yeah, even though they had a massive disaster to clean up in that time period.
Yeah, kind of like San Francisco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where they had, 9 years to completely rebuild the city and then build a World Expo grounds.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Hello, Newcastle, Indiana. Rescue Freedom. Hello. So yeah, they added 31 cars in 2 years. In 2 years. That's crazy.
Shit.
But then a year later, WW1 broke out, so the number of riders dropped. Well, yeah, because they're over across the pond shooting at The Jerry's, I guess.
Yeah.
The main lines at the time were located 11th Avenue. Excuse me, Albert Street, Dooney, yeah, so on, yada, 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 yada. Okay, the 5-cent fare was pricey for residents, and in 1920 doubled to a dime.
Oh boy.
Besides the increase in price, streetcars also decreased staff. The original streetcars had a motorman who drove the car and a conductor who collected the fares and issued transfers and basically answered all the questions people had. But in 1921, only the motorman remained and handled everything just like a bus driver does today. By the 40s, they were phased out in part because of the high cost of repairing old equipment and the lines, in place of electric trolley cars with rubber tires. Hatcher added that the trolleys had more flexibility for riders insofar as they could pull over to the curb. So they just changed to electric buses, basically. Over the years, streetcar service declined. 49. Oh, a building fire destroyed several streetcars, both wooden and steel.
There you go.
Oh, those flat, highly flammable steel streetcar trolleys.
Yep.
Jeez. As well as trolleys and buses. After the fire, there's only enough streetcars to keep one line going.
Of course.
Almost 2 decades later, in 1966, the trolley cars met the same fate and were phased out as buses took a larger role. Wow, they went late, 1966. So they started late, but they ended late.
Interesting.
Calgary ended in 1950, and we started in, I think, 05 or so, 06 with our streetcar. Don't quote me on that. So they went 55 years, right up into the mid-60s. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, they're going to continue the road work, and who knows, they might dig up some more old streetcar lines. They're on 11th Avenue between Broad Street and Winnipeg Street in downtown Regina. And look at that. There's some kind of textured pavement or something that looks like it's underneath or beside the track here too.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I came across that one earlier today too, as I was doing a bit of research. So.
Oh, did you?
I did, yeah.
I have another link here too, but it keeps taking so long to load that it times itself out, which is strange because I have a pretty fast desktop and I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I'm plugged into the information superhighway there, eh, buddy? So it should be flying along, but it doesn't look like she's going to work for me. I tried it last night and it kept timing out on me. But I'll leave it in there for, I don't know, in case you're somehow able to get at it. If you want to check out the link after the fact, it's in the description there, eh? Do you want me to just quickly cover the Regina Cyclone?
Sure, yeah. I got some visuals, but you can definitely get that story going for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I got again, it's the Wikipedia, so, it's going to be the official glazed over version of the whole song and dance. It did look pretty brutal, though. I mean, I don't think this was a walk in the park, for sure.
No.
The Regina Cyclone, or Regina Tornado of 1912, was a tornado. Really, the Regina Tornado was a tornado. Really?
You sure about that?
Yeah.
It devastated the city of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada on Sunday, June 30th, 1912. It remains the deadliest tornado in Canadian history. It's a total of 28 fatalities and about 300 people injured. At about 10 to 4 p.m., green funnel clouds formed and touched down south of the city, tearing through the residential area between Wascana Lake. Oh, no, that's their favorite man-made lake, eh?
Yeah.
That's the seed of the city/town itself, right there. The seed.
That's why it's there in the first place. Yeah.
That's Regina's seed, if I may say.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
And continuing through downtown business district, rail yards, warehouse district, and northern residential area. Tornado formed 18 kilometers or 11 miles south of the city and continued for another 7.5 miles or 12 clicks north of the city before dissipating. It was approximately 150 meters or about 500 feet wide. The tornado's wind velocity had been estimated at so nobody measured it. I guess would they have a way? They should have had a way to measure wind speed by then. This is
I don't know.
1912, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's already aeroplanes by then, so they should have known wind speed. Anyway, 400 kilometers per hour, 250 miles per hour. But there's a citation needed for that, eh? So somebody just made that up. Making the equivalent of a high-end F4 in the Fujita? Fajita? The Fajita scale. Is that Fajita?
I have
The tornado also displayed multiple vortex structure through the city's residential areas, leaving individual houses untouched next to homes that were completely flattened. Oh, we've kind of seen and heard that before too, haven't we?
Selective, yeah.
Damage was residential. Yeah, okay, they gave us all that. In 20 minutes, it completely leveled a number of houses and caused other houses to explode as the pressure inside the structures rose when the tornado passed overhead. It's kind of a new one on me. Of course, the affluent residential area south was substantially diminished, but the tornado left houses untouched here and the immediately adjacent houses, which were flattened. Warehouse district would destroyed many of the storage buildings. The CPR roundhouse, so you had the old timey train tech had to go. I bet you a lot of times the controllers, when some natural disaster like this happens, they use that as an excuse to destroy some of the older buildings and chalk it up to the wind did it.
Opportunity knocks. Well, they always do the with the fires. They do the fire breaks, right?
Oh yeah. Because you know how we got to destroy buildings in order to prevent destroying buildings.
Yeah, they probably had cyclone breaks as well, too, right? We got to blow up some churches. Yeah,
got to blow up these buildings so they don't burn down.
Yeah.
Same here. We got to blow up these buildings before they blow away. Whew, that was a close one. I really dodged it by destroying my building before it got destroyed.
Yeah. Woo. So
yeah, links below for that as well. It was, by the looks of a lot of the photos, it was pretty. I don't mean to make light of it. It looked pretty rough.
Sure.
So if your granddaddy or your great granddaddy lived through that, tip of the hat, because doesn't look like it was a good time, to say the least.
Yeah, it looks like a reset time too, considering the
perfect.
timeline.
Perfect excuse to kick off a whole new narrative in Regina. Dragon Sage in the box has been to Regina, stayed at the Y. There you go. Words Matter is here. Hello, Words Matter. Hello. So what do you think? Let's say we take a quick little break here, just about 2.5 minute break or so, and then come back and have a look and see what you got for your file on Regina Saskatchewan. Because I know you're bringing all I know your milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard.
That's right. I'm not going to finish it.
I know you always bring the good stuff. It's going to be like whipped cream on your pumpkin pie. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, there's some good visuals in Regina. There's some good stuff.
So I like to try to find some old-timey footage of the city or town we're covering. And I had a tough go. I was saying before we went live, I was telling Chris, I had a tough go finding anything. Any old parades or old fairs or just anything. And not much until I came across this old 1964 TV spot where they sing a little jingle, kind of like an homage to the, hey, it's my kind of town, sort of a deal. And they show a lot of the nice old buildings and some of the shots. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. It's a catchy jingle. So what do you say we have a look at that? And then when we come back, Chris is going to knock it home with some delicious photographs. So this is a Regina TV spot from 1964. It's just over 2 minutes long. So smoke them if you got them, and we'll be right back. Thanks, everyone.
Wonderful town, wonderful people, places to go, things to see. My love is Regina, that's my wonderful town. Beautiful homes, schools and churches, entertainment, places to shop. My heart's in Regina, that's my wonderful town. Once they called Regina Island Rose, now she's the queen city of the plains. Tree-lined streets, museum and symphony, home of CKCK-TV.
Regina is Canada's curling capital.
We've got the riders, the team to see. My love is Regina, that's my wonderful town. Regina is the capital of the province.
It's the home of the RCMP.
We have the exhibition, and in addition,
Regina has CKCK-TV.
you can take the scenic drive around Wascana.
At Regina campus get a degree.
Folks who till the soil are drilled for oil.
They watch CKCK-TV.
Hillsdale and Hobart and Lakeview, Churchill Place and River Heights and Green. In Wickmore Park, Douglas Park, Regent Park too. They watch CKCK-TV. Regina Saskatchewan, that's my wonderful town.
All right. And we are back. That's it now. That song is going to be stuck in your head.
And you don't think they can brainwash the population?
No, I mean, really, they list off like 6 things, and that's what we're known for. Take it or leave it. The RCMP, hockey,
TV,
this TV station, and our legislature building and stuff. See, they say they're the home of the RCMP, but I think it's actually Fort Capel, which isn't far, but it's a little further east than what is present day Regina.
Huh. Yeah.
But I think where it, but I mean, you know, the Northwest it was all Northwest Territories, so hence why they were called the Northwest Mounted Police. The Mounties, the Dudley Do-Rights, you see.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here for the CANUCKLEHEADS Show, episode 13. We're looking at Regina, Saskatchewan, here in Canada land. Of course, I'm Chris. I'm Chris. I don't even know who I am.
I'm Frankie.
I'm Frankie from newwestreset, and I've been drinking Canadian beer, so I forgot my name. Anyway, I'm joined by Chris from Old World Exploration. Links below for everything we've been talking about. Thanks for joining us, everybody. If you haven't already, maybe give a couple of CANUCKLEHEADS a thumbs up.
Yeah, midweek special here. Midweek special.
Yeah, it's Hump Day.
Hump Day, that's right.
You
we're
get
doing
Hump
Regina.
Day.
We're doing
Hump
Regina. Sorry.
Doing Regina on Hump Day.
Why not?
I think it fits.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Sorry, I know that's... Anyways, thanks for joining me here. Morgan's here, Isabella live, Dragon Sage, Phil Henry's in the chat as well. Hello, Super Ghost. Kelly's here. Mega Triumph, Scottish Tart. Mark's here, our Melted Reality. Hello. Hippie Shake. Officer Donut. And Words Matter. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us here. I think there's like over 60 people watching between the two channels. Broadcasting simultaneously on both the channels. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I can't wait anymore. What do you got for me? It's the anticipation killing me. I'm sweating.
All right. Here we go. All right, Regina. Starting off with, I don't have a designation for this one. I think it's a school. Might see it a little bit later as a school, designated as a school, but it's kind of castle-esque, wouldn't you say?
They could either, I mean, the way it is there, they could designate it a school, city hall.
Yeah.
But probably a school. See how we're still kind of not so much brainwashed, but we're definitely caught on. We're hip to the way that they rubber stamp and designate certain buildings, right? Just by looking at them, we're like, yeah, they would call that a school. You know what I mean? Like we kind of get where they're
looking
going.
Old too, like I don't know, kind of.
Well, it looks like it's settled into the ground a lot more than the big, huge houses around it.
Yeah, you expect these, 2-story gable roof. They're stick framing these. Yeah, you'd expect that from the turn of the century. Why not? Those are nice homes for the turn of the century. In the foreground.
That thing sticks out like a sore thumb, though.
Sure does. And there's a bit of a skyline that's sort of been vanilla skied, maybe scrubbed, something going on in the back too. So
yeah, that looks like there's a bunch of tall things, whatever those might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's that? There. Yeah,
big
that's weird.
Stack there. Yeah. Who knows? But we're off to a good start, I think.
They tell us it's a brewery, probably, right, or something like that.
I wish I didn't find a brewery. Maybe there's a brewery, but I didn't. I wish. Yeah. Yeah, we get the main central area with the city hall in the foreground here, the gingerbread city hall.
Beautiful.
Here. Isn't it? Yeah. It's got a little dome here on top because you got to have a dome in the middle where nobody can see it from the road.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It's tucked away in the middle of the roof section, and maybe it's more.
You'd only see it if you were on the roof of the building across the street. Maybe.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are you doing up there? Watching a parade, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, watching a military royal something or other. Yeah, and post office here on the left. You'll see these as we move forward. But this is a nice one because you got the streetcars in full effect and nice clean looking city here. Lots of multi-storied brick structures.
Look at the size of the property that the gingerbread city hall is on too.
Yeah.
Big, massive corner lot. It probably takes up a whole city block, that property.
Yeah, I think they say it was built in 1908 and I believe torn down in the 60s.
Oh, of course, because you can't have a building last much more than 50 years or so on the old world buildings. Sheesh.
Yeah, I think I threw this in one of my demolished buildings books that I compiled. It's in the second one, I think. The gingerbread house in Regina. Oh, my dog's joined us. But
it's always good to get a canine's opinion. Man's best friend for a reason. Dogs know. Dogs know, man.
She loves the old world. She loves it. Yeah, the BMO. We call these BMO up here. Bank of Montreal. You guys call them BMO in Calgary?
Yeah, BMO. Yeah.
They all had a Bank of Montreal, didn't they?
Every decent-sized town or city in Canada had a Bank of Montreal. Also had a Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, now CIBC, right?
Uh-huh.
And the Toronto Dominion Bank too, quite a few.
Yeah, TD. Yeah.
And a few had the Molson Bank. Speaking of beer, the beer baron, Robert Baron up here in Canada, John Molson.
Mm.
He also opened his own bank. Because, having a massive beer empire is not enough. Got to have a banking empire, too.
Yeah, I didn't know about the Molson Bank.
Super Ghost got it.
That's interesting. More of a street scenes for you here. The hustling, bustling 30s, would you guess, here, maybe?
Yeah, I would say... No, I would... Not 40s.
Not 40s?
No. Mid 30s, mid to late 30s. Pretty, like this is the Great Depression, so there's not going to be a lot of people in the streets because not a lot of people are working. Looks pretty good for the Great Depression, though, if it is the 30s. I'm just looking by the cars, really.
Yeah, and you're right, it's a Great Depression, but it doesn't look all that depressing, does it?
No, you don't see a lot of people with placard sandwich board signs walking up the sidewalk, will work for food and whatnot.
Yeah.
What I am seeing are department store signs like the Met and the Army and Navy, which is like a 5 and dime stores here in Canada.
I think so. So if we're saying it's the 30s, I'm bringing in the population demographics here. Let's do this.
It could be late 20s. I'm just looking
Sure.
at the vehicles, right? And they didn't change that much between the late 20s, early 30s.
I would think, you could see not much going on here. Like Regina booms here in that first decade of the 20th century. It goes from 2,000 people in 01 to 30,000 in 11. This would be the false start narrative going on right here, I think. 1911, 12, cyclone time.
Well, I mean, those 2,000 and some people, that's the people that were living in the shanties and the fur trapper tent cabins, and anticipating the railroad, supposedly.
Yeah, and then so we're looking at a picture somewhere in here, right? We're looking at a picture so these would all have to been, I would suspect these should have all been built originally for the purpose that they're currently in this photograph. Not not an old building. They wouldn't have any old buildings 20 years, 30 years later. These should all be really new at this time. And you'd think the signs would have been a part of the build process, but they really look after the fact, don't they? The signage.
Yeah, no, some of the buildings look older than, let's say, 20, 30, being generous, 30-year-old buildings.
Yeah.
Some of them look older, to me anyway. It could be the photograph, but I think we'll see in some other shots that some of these buildings just look more aged.
Timeline problems here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 1911, 1912 cyclone thing kind of throws a monkey wrench into it. I bet you they had already reset this area, and then they had to reset it again with the cyclone.
And then they march a lot of the people off to war right after.
Yeah.
So
yes, whoever's life or family didn't get destroyed in the cyclone definitely would have been badly affected. Chances are badly affected because of WW1 in some way.
Yeah. So this is the legislative building. I'm just pulling up the Wikipedia briefly here. Give you a timeline. The piles for this building begin to be drilled for the foundations during the autumn of 08. That's better to drill those in the spring, but whatever.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it right before winter hits us.
Before it starts to freeze up here, we got to get them in before it freezes up.
Jeez. Yeah, don't do it in May or anything. No.
Yeah. 09, they lay the cornerstone, the Earl Grey. There he is, Earl Grey.
Oh, he's so fantastic. They name a tea after him in Canada, eh?
That's right.
It's just orange pekoe with bergamot added to it, but that's what it is. I had to look it up because I'm like, why's everybody doing backflips over this dang tea? I looked it up and I'm like, it's just orange pekoe. It's regular tea. It's got bergamot. Big deal.
Yeah. So basically, from cornerstone to completion, we're in 1912 here. They don't give us the month, of course, because I don't know. They don't have that information. Be nice to know. Maybe they have it over here. Oh, okay, okay.
Nice private joke in the chat there from all over Adventures Canada. Is that genuine Saskatchewan sealskin bindings?
Yeah. A red green. That's a bit, or no, that's Dave. It's Super Dave Osborne, isn't it?
That's Super Dave Osborne. That's right. That's Super Dave. Holy.
Oh, here we have it completing in January of 1912. Okay, so 3 years is a stretch here for from cornerstone to completion.
3 years for from when they were doing the pylons or
from the cornerstone. They in 1909. They don't tell us when. Usually they lay the cornerstone in like a July. It's like a a summer ceremony when they lay the cornerstone.
Yeah, it's like a weirdo summer solstice thing or something maybe.
Yeah. So if we give it that, we're looking at 09, 10, 11, 12. We're looking at 2.5 years from cornerstone to completion for this sucker. So let's take. Right smack dab in the middle of that. The streetcars are being implemented in 1911. The streetcars begin, right? So this is being built, being finished off while the streetcars are all being laid into the streets. So let's keep that in mind.
So, yeah, supposedly the track is being laid in this area, actually in the downtown area around this man-made lake.
Yeah.
To service that downtown area and the attractions and amenities, right?
And what would be required would be manpower to do all of that work, laying of the tracks and the building of the Capitol. And you'll see more buildings that right in that timeline as we go through this. So it starts to become, how many people do you have in this town of 30,000 people to construct all of this infrastructure? And
there they are right there in the canoes. So you can see them having a blast in their shirts and ties.
This must be a day off.
Canoeing. I can go canoeing in my business suit.
That was stereotypical.
Yeah, I guess, people like to dress up to do, you want to look your best when you went out in public. You didn't want to look like a shiftless hobo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these postcards, photographs always give me that reset vibes. Like they're a bunch of orphans who grown up and have no idea what's going on around them.
Because the railroad's in here by this point. So there you go. It could have been shipped in by rail from the Oddfellows. You know?
Yeah. You never know. So there she is. She's a sturdy looking building. Apparently they had all the brick in place to make this thing out of red brick, and at the last second they switch it over to Saskatchewan stone of some sort. It's in here somewhere. But
wait a second. So they either made or ordered and had shipped the bricks to build that building already.
That's correct. It's right here.
Either on site or, we put the order in and the factory's
already on site. No, right here. Already on site. And then the premier came in right over the top. Walter Scott decided that Manitoba Tyndall stone would give the building greater grandeur. So
I got one thing to say about that.
Show me all the blueprints.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's a beauty. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's
what it's built out of and when it was built. It's a beauty.
It's spectacular.
Down there along the ground, but hey, it's fine. It's fine like that with the mudflood windows down there. It's okay.
You got a little copper. Look, you can see that coloring there in the top.
Yeah.
This looking very electric, some like lighthouse-ish, giving me lighthouse vibes.
Yeah, it's got a lot of little nodes and finials and stuff sticking out of the top there still, and then the big ball on the top. That's not another little dome. That's a ball up there, right?
Yeah. Interesting looking building. Yeah. In Regina, Saskatchewan. A little bit of interior for you. This does not look like it fits this to me, the picture, the painting.
No, yeah. Well, what do you mean? It's a couple of guys canoeing, eh? Just gonna catch some trout and bring it home and cook her up there, bud, on the Coleman stove, eh?
You get these rosettes coming off maybe I'll go back here. You can see them here.
Yeah.
You see these in a lot of the old worlders as well.
You're right. That fresco or painting does not match.
It doesn't fit.
Right. It doesn't fit.
Grandeur. So, like, who's doing this in 1910 and 11 in Saskatchewan, in Regina? There's 30,000 people there. They're just getting there. Over that 10-year period, they're all flooding in, like the whole.
You got like one of those marble columns, or
maybe
kind of
scagliola, maybe.
I mean, those are something like that. Even if it's what they call trompe-l'oeil, like it's a painted effect, it still takes a lot of time and effort and a certain degree of skill for a artistic painter to create that sort of faux finish.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So whether it's real stone or it's painted effect, that's very expensive and time consuming. It's glorious though. It's beautiful.
And then keep in mind that early time period, right? More of those rosettes on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Octagons in the underside of these curves. You see this a lot too. And who's that, Frankie? Who would you think? Who would you say?
Oh, hello.
She's always there. She's always
Hello,
sticking her nose in
loyal
her.
subject.
Well, now they got to swap him out. Now it's Chuck. Chuck's up there now. King
Good
Chuck,
old,
right?
good old Chuck. Yeah.
Gonna have to work on my King Charles impression now, I guess. What is he, by the way? King Charles the what? What is he? The 6th? The
Something like that.
28th? Like, there's been a few Charleses.
I heard he's on the way out too. There's a cancer thing going on there, and they're not sure, and maybe they're
Oh
gonna.
dear. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. It's rumors, just rumors. Rumors in the Commonwealth. That's all it is.
oh, bless him.
Yeah. This is pretty skookum though, wouldn't you say? This grand entryway with the columns above the doors. You know, like it's. I'm just trying to envision 1910, 1911, putting this thing together. Yeah.
An old Assiniboia, you know.
Yeah. And I don't have to envision because we are provided with a construction photo. And Wikipedia gives us confirmation that they were in fact building this. Look at the yard around it, right? That always makes me laugh. It's like can't you get the yard looking as good as the building you're building? You know?
Yeah, like we understand that there's guys that are got to operate those hoists, and there's guys that got to transport and finish those stones. But they also have guys that work on sites that are just site laborers, and these guys keep it neat and clean and organized and safe. But you know, they didn't have those safety issues back in the day. That's how they could whack these buildings up in 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. You know,
like why
didn't have to worry about job safety.
They're just strewn about. This looks like you like blew it up almost. The way that they're all sort of just laying around sideways and on top of each other. Right. Those are massive, massive blocks.
Yeah.
So it's a bit sus for sure. Yeah, I always, I don't trust these old construction photographs. And then you zoom in and it starts to look a little funny in the skyline area. Get a little pixelated and around there, and it's like, I don't know. They're messing with us.
I think Scottish Tart has a good point. But it's probably them. It could be them disassembling another building, and they just tagged it and labeled it as this is the construction of the Regina Legislative Building.
Yeah.
And
Take note.
Right.
Well, look at behind it too. There's nothing back here. That goes on for miles.
Yeah, shouldn't there already be a building?
Some houses at least.
Houses.
Like this is
Notice
smack dab.
they didn't take it from the perspective where you would have the lake in front of it. The man-made lake should already be there too.
Yeah. The lake should be behind us, I guess, as we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the guy standing on to take this photo, by the way? Because it looks like he's up on something fairly high up.
Yeah, good point too. Yeah. Anyway, as my kids would say, sus.
Your kids are smart, that's why.
There's the underside of the dome. Nice, right?
Yeah, the undersides of these are always beautiful, especially when they really embellish it like that.
Yeah. So, town of 30,000 people, 1910-ish, 11. They're building this for the province. They just decided, not many years before, that if this shall be the capital of the province, and this capital needs a capital building, and here we have it.
That doesn't make sense.
All right, we'll get off the capital kick. Let's move on.
It's a glorious building, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
It's big, too, actually. It's bigger than the Alberta legislature building in Edmonton.
Yeah, it is massive. And
like, why is it so bloody big? No offense to my Saskatchewan friends. I love Saskatchewan. It's a beautiful province.
Yeah,
but, pretty scantily populated, even just as a whole. Never mind Regina as a city. That's the provincial capital building. So the representatives from every voting person in the entire province meet up in that building, supposedly, right? So that's pretty big for a lower population province. I mean, this isn't Ontario we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's a desolate prairie somewhat. I like this one back here, and I don't know what it is. This is the fire department. You can see the horse and wagon, and I think
yeah.
there's firefighting steam boilers or whatever those are.
I think those those created the pressure for the hoses.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I like this one though. Like it's a bit grainy, and I couldn't find it really anywhere else, and I don't know what it is, but they had some skills.
School or post office or
Yeah, and remember now that there was nobody there in 1902, like 2,000 people, and they're living in shanties. So all of these would have to have been shooting up, like lickety split in that first
and then
decade.
it looks like we're almost seeing the steeple of a church popping out from behind whatever that mystery building is, or is that part of that
There,
mystery building?
maybe
Yeah,
there. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Yeah, this
yeah,
is
that one
definitely
on the
part of
left there. Yeah, that one's part of it, the cupola.
Yeah, but you're right. This one here definitely could be, and there are some churches worth looking at. We'll be looking at them.
That could be another huge building tucked in behind these two. So that's already a third. There's a
Yeah.
couple in the distance there on the lower left, the far lower left of the photo. So
Yeah.
there's some big buildings in this photo at this early time.
Yeah, it's a strange with the timeline, right? I'm looking at the chat here. I see Daphne put Washington D.C. is full of this stuff as well. I was going to mention because I'm doing a live on Saturday with John Reiser and John and Melissa Reiser. Well, we did a book together, but he did some boots on the ground in D.C. this summer, so I'm going to be sharing what they found on their trip. So I thought I'd plug that here. Good segue. Yeah. Okay. But we'll keep going. And what is this? Trading company? Regina Trading Company?
Wow. That's a big, that's another one that's, we'll just make it the whole city block.
Yeah. Horse and buggy. Oh, and you know what? We'll put a stone railing along the top. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I bet you there's pavement lights or like prism lights along the sidewalk there too. What the hell's that thing in the distance that's got a conical dome on it on the left? The lower left of the picture, like way out of frame. Yeah. Yeah. What the heck is that?
Good question. It's kind of small. Yeah.
It's kind of far away is why. It looks like it's 2 or 3 floors, but what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, the dome right there is great, obviously, but
yeah.
That tower turret thing, what is that?
But you mentioned even the sidewalks. Like that's a lot of infrastructure. Like when those shanty huts were up, I don't envision sidewalks or any of that kind of stuff being in place.
Well, what always makes me scratch my head is that the streets are dirt, but they've paved the sidewalks already. Like,
Yeah.
I can understand the dirt streets and the wooden sidewalks, and then a natural progression would be that they would pave the streets and pour the sidewalks roughly at around the same time, like, one after the other kind of a deal.
Absolutely.
But to have the dirt roads that still get all muddy when it rains or snows, but then to have the paved sidewalk, because then if you're crossing the street, you're going to get all muddy anyway.
Yeah, there's something.
Scott Baker says, whoops, get rid of that rocket there in the background. Elon Musk's rocket is back there, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Blasting through the firmament. Yeah. Okay, we have a lot of these types of buildings here in Regina.
School. Is it a
yeah.
school? Oh, it is a school. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a school.
It says there.
And having that same look, that basement, and then that sort of real, heavy weighted building material structure to it.
Yeah, a cyclone could hit that and it would survive. Oh, wait a sec.
You'd think. So, I don't know. I mean, it's the timeline doesn't fit, right? Doesn't fit at all. This Metropolitan Methodist Church, that's big. Take a look at the entry.
Beefy, yeah.
Triple door entry, dome on the corner.
Big tower.
Decapitated, possibly. Something used to be a bit flat looking on top, as it sounds.
I bet you that had a big, tall, really extreme angled spire on it.
Yeah. Big pointy spire. Yeah.
The dome's nice though.
I should pencil it in with paint. I'll just do it for the viewers right here.
Why not? There's our should look.
That's right.
That's better.
But I mean, when are they saying this was built? That first decade? Okay, let's keep going. That's an interesting point Eric makes there. The people in the photos, it's superimposed in a lot of these. It's
Yeah, there was a photo I had on my show on Sunday that they painted in some of the horses and carts and cars and some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the vehicles and people were real, but some of them were painted in, and it was to make the streets and sidewalks look busier than they actually were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's that weird building again that doesn't have a clock in the hole. It just got portals.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the same one. That, like, as the first. Let me. This is the one I was thinking might be, but I was wondering. Let me just do a quick. Ready? I'm going to switch to the other one. You tell me if you think it's the same one. So you have the triple window underneath the hole there, and then I'll jump back.
Yeah, you're right. And this
Different
one,
building.
yeah, this Albert Public School has a big, what do they call that? Over the main door there, the triangular,
Yeah.
whatchamacallit?
Freeze? I don't know. I can't remember. You're getting technical on me. You put me on the spot.
I'm getting technical. Wow, we're all in trouble now if I'm getting technical.
You're getting a little too technical for my liking there, Craig. It's late on a Wednesday evening, you know. But yeah, another school. Okay. Who's building these? How long is that going to take to build? Is that just a 2-monther, or who's
Scottish Tart's got a pediment. Thank you.
Pediment. Yeah. Okay.
This one has the pediment above the main door. The other one had a stylized carving instead.
Yeah, which is interesting.
It's a weird photo when all the people are just standing outside like this.
With the kitties.
Like
the kitties out front. That could be residential.
It could be. Yeah, it could have been a resident, maybe.
Orphans, maybe.
They're calling it a public school, though.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What is it really? Right?
That's what they're calling it, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Holy Rosary Cathedral, because you got to have a cathedral in the prairies.
Yeah, with a double-towered spires and a big somatic rose window, and probably one in the front there too. But that's what I envisioned the decapitated one would have looked like.
Yeah, you cut that flat and then get rid of the top part, and it would look similar. That's right. Yeah, and it's interesting too because this photo has been plastered all over the Wikipedias. So if you look up Regina, you're gonna see this photo as from 1911. This one is supposedly from. Looking strange again too. They got a big scaffold in the middle. And I looked at it a little closer.
It's funny looking.
Watch the side here. If I get into does the side of the building look like some scrapage has gone on here?
Yeah. So they've cropped that photo.
A little trickery going on there. So
I bet you if you followed around the electrical power line, the power poles and the power lines, you'd see cropping around there or funny business around there too.
Yeah.
Or they could actually just draw in those power lines afterwards with a straight edge and a ink pen, right?
Yeah. Actually, you can see some funny business up here too. As I was playing around with this one earlier, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think there's much construction going on there. Something doesn't seem right. You could do a little bit of trickery here and get rid of the steeples and make it look like it's under construction or something. But interesting nonetheless, and it's always suspicious to me if it's being plastered over the official historical pages, you know.
Yeah.
Narrative.
Yeah, that's definitely been cropped in some way. Maybe they were just, I was going to say maybe they're getting it ready for a postcard, but why would they have a construction photo on a postcard? But then they've got all those cars and people in the streetcar right in front of it. It almost looks like a staged photo, and then it's been cropped to get it ready for something.
It is a commemoration, actually. Yes, there is some sort.
Well, even still.
Yeah, and there it is in the modern day. That's how she looks. It's a nice looking church.
It's a beauty, yeah, for sure. A lot of steps to get up to the front, though.
Who are the immigrants at the early builders? Do they have a heavy influx of what do they have in the prairies? A lot of Russian,
Ukrainian, German, and Prussian. and probably Mennonites, Hutterites, and Mormons, just like Alberta.
Yep. Hard-working, hardy folk, but you don't see them building like this anymore. Right.
I mean, that's who the quote-unquote new settling pioneers would have been. That would have been grabbing up all the new farmland that released it by the crown, right?
Yeah, and putting in a pipe organ like this.
Of course, because a Prussian farmer needs a pipe organ like that in their cathedral-style church in the prairies. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. We have the Knox Presbyterian Church as well. It's no slouch, this one. Look at the
There's
stairs.
always a Knox, isn't there?
The Knox are really strong, especially in the middle of the country at that time.
I think Winnipeg has one. Calgary definitely has one. It's still standing.
Yeah.
Interesting little cupola in the middle of the roof on that one.
Yeah. Actually, the Knox is the oldest church in my town here as well. So.
See?
This one destroyed in the cyclone. I believe we're looking at it here on the left.
Yes. Yeah. That little cupola survived, though.
Yeah, would you look at that? But apparently Now, let me go back. This is gone. The cyclone took this out? That's stone, right? That looks like it's made of stone.
I'd say that's brick or stone. It's masonry of some sort.
Yeah, but it's
See, it's a good opportunity to decapitate it. Whoop, the wind got it.
Heavily damaged. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Whoopsie.
This one's completely gone. This is I think it's YMCA. I think we're going to see later. This building here takes
the big brick one.
Yeah, that's apparently sitting right here, and it's gone.
Yeah. I think I do remember. I actually had a small file of photos of the cyclone too, but a lot of them are the same as the ones you've got. But then you've got a bunch of better ones that I hadn't found. So.
Oh well, thanks, Ricky. You know how I like to dig deep.
Oh yeah, no, you always come with the goods with these photos, man, for sure.
Okay, here. Speaking of goods, here's the city hall, the gingerbread city hall. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Now, I want you. So you can see the vehicle back here, right? That's probably getting near the end of its life here. That's probably 50s, would you say? I don't know if you can. Can you see that there?
Yeah. Early 50s. Yeah.
Early 50s. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this thing's getting torn down within 10 years of where it's
maybe late 40s. And it's post-war anyway. Yeah.
We got a build date. I don't have a duration, but we have a 1908 start date for this sucker. So as we look at it in this photo, we're less than 50 years old, I would say. About 60 years old, not even, when it's torn down. And that's being generous. And you tell me, does this look like it's only a couple decades old? I don't know. Maybe.
It looks pretty aged.
Pretty serious weathering going on along the top band here.
Yeah.
Really growing in up here. Whatever they got going on, that's supposed to be like a garden on top of the, I don't know, balcony.
Could be. Well, even the trees on the property that are close to the building, they're not massive, but they're quite mature. So they either built around those trees and didn't disturb them during the construction, or those trees grew from smaller trees to where they are now in this photo. So it's been there a while, man. You're right. That dome in the middle is crazy.
Right? No, nobody's seeing this. Look how high up it goes, too. Right, the pole in the middle.
Yeah, you're right. Like,
well, that's just silly. Silly, yes. Idiotic, yes.
Yeah. Why are you tearing this down after 50 plus years? Really? Come on. You're trying to hide something? I think you're trying to hide something here in Regina.
Even the gingerbread effect on it is just beautiful.
It's
so time consuming.
Yeah. And remember, this is getting built right around the beginning of the time that the Parliament building is getting built as well. So they're throwing them all up. Those 30,000 people that flocked to the city were put to work right away building all these structures.
As soon as you get off the train, they hand you a hammer, a pickaxe, or a shovel, and they say, "Get her done, buddy."
They say, "I never laid a brick in my life." It's easy. He'll figure it out.
Giuseppe over there, he'll show you how to stack out a brick real good. Don't worry.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, we'll build all the government buildings at the same time. City halls, post offices, legislative buildings.
Don't forget the churches, Frankie. Don't forget those churches.
Yeah, well, of course. You can't forget the churches.
That's a lot of development going on at the same time.
There it is again in the background of this shot too. Wow.
Yeah, look at the street light here. This is really cool. You see the big lamp coming off that.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty neat, And then of course the streetcar, real nice vibe in this one. I like this one.
Yeah, nice details in that. And people just going about their business, and that beautiful building in the background. Even the one here in the foreground too, with the partially blocked by the trolley.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and the one next to it. Yeah, what were they? Pediments? You got pediments over the windows because why not? Awnings in the windows because we hate the sun.
Apparently,
we came up from the underground, so we hate the sun, right?
Everybody.
Yeah. Here's a little interior. This from 1909. This photograph, a year after the place was constructed, we are told. They shot this.
Everybody's dressed up to the nines. To the nines, buddy.
Reminds me of the scene from The Shining when what's his name? Jack Nicholson's got the old.
Oh yeah, that's right. In the Overlook Hotel in the ballroom.
A little Halloween vibe for you. Look at all the detailing on the wall back here. I don't know if you can make it out in this photograph.
I'm not going to hurt you, Wendy. Just give me the bat, Wendy. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I'm going to bash them right the F in, Wendy. Right?
Yeah.
The creepiest part of that movie is when Jack Nicholson finally loses it there in The Shining.
Yeah.
And the little kid's creepy,
I thought Wendy was creepy too.
I think they drove Shelley Duvall crazy on purpose when they were filming that movie. I don't think she was acting at that point. They were just gaslighting her and driving her nuts. She was at her wit's end, I tell you.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Oh, let's keep going. Here we got this is one of the colleges. All sorts of college. I mentioned that earlier. Schools and college type buildings. Apologies if I don't have the designation for all of these. This looks like it's what, 30s again? Is that 30s? You know your vehicles, so I ask you.
Late 20s, early 30s, yeah, for those vehicles.
So the city at this point is again, what, 30 years old. This had to have been built at some point in that time frame. Another massive brick structure with these very ornate entrances.
Yeah, very sturdy and stout.
Skookum, you might say.
Look at that entrance around there. Wow.
Yeah, here, I'll go back. Yeah, I think we might see this again. I'm not sure. There's so many with that styling. I'll keep moving on though. This is the Collegiate Institute, apparently another school designation building with columns and massive entryway.
Now in Canada, oftentimes when they say collegiate school, it's actually a high school, but it's a private school. Like it's a privately funded. It's not the public school system school.
You can tell. You get some uniforms, kids in uniform here.
It's based on the American private school system. We call them like collegiate schools, as opposed to a actual college or university, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it confusing also when they designate these buildings, like such and such collegiate. Well, is it a private high school or is it an actual college, like a college building on campus somewhere?
Yeah. This is another collegiate building, a bit grainy, but I kept it in there.
That's huge.
Yeah, and here's an entryway, I think, for either that one or one similar, just to give you a sense of scale here.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very large, ornate too, with all that glass in there.
Yeah. And
all
remember,
that leaded glass.
You have an actual, let me go back to the demographics. You have a bit of a dip, not a dip, but a very, very slowing of growth going on here in that second decade. Right. And I'm sure the World War I factor into that as well. So it remains a small city right up into the 20s. And again, we're looking at all these structures. So there weren't a lot more people coming in over that second decade. So if you're going to tell me that this was built in the 19 teens, maybe, I don't know what they say. Well, I don't know. You have
It's
a
still
lot.
it's still a tough pill to swallow, right?
You're getting a lot of work done in a short period of time with a small amount of people. So, yeah, very tough pill to swallow. Old courthouse, apparently. First courthouse, they say. Bit grainy, not a great photograph, but if you can see the stonage, it gets a bit grainy as I zoom.
Why are those windows way down there?
Yeah, somebody dug, eh?
It's like if you're gonna, okay, let's play devil's advocate or give them the benefit of the doubt that it was purposely built with a basement, and then they purposely built little basement windows like that. Like if you're gonna go through all the trouble of digging a basement and building your foundation out of that basement, and then stacking your brick and constructing your structure on top of that, why make those windows so small?
Yeah.
And in Canada, where you get a lot of snow in the winter, why have them so low to the ground? Even if they're not going down below, like even if the grass isn't growing right up to the glass, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, anything less than 8 inches or a foot to the ground is too low.
Yep. You're right. And the argument is what they were meant to let light in, because a lot of these are built before electricity comes into these communities.
Yeah, that's often the rebuttal. But so again, my reply would be, well, why not make them the size of the rest of the windows to let in more light?
Yeah.
And then why are you bricking them in and boarding them up later on too? You know, why not save on your electric bill? Oh, once we ran power down in the basement, we boarded up and blocked in all the windows. Like what?
And then I'm trying to envision the actual
You know what I
finishing
mean?
of them too. And like, what are you using? Kerosene lamps for light so you can get your work done down there? You know what I mean? Like it would be dark. It would be pretty dark down there. It's not a lot of light being let in with those little windows.
I would propose that maybe not necessarily with this building, but a lot of buildings that we see with windows like that, that at one time that lower window was the same size as the one directly above it and the one directly above that, especially when they line up symmetrically like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, again, not all buildings like this, but a lot of them, I think, are, if you were to dig down and you were to remove that facading stone and get back to the brick that's on the main body of the building, that window would be the same size all the way down.
Yeah. Interesting point. Yep. We'll get into the old cyclone now, or the tornado, depending on what you want to call it.
Yeah, I wonder why they call it cyclone instead of tornado if it's the same thing. Does it just sound more deadly or more disastrous? Yeah.
It does sound
because
more
you don't
disastrous.
often hear of cyclone in Canada, right? I don't know.
No, this is like you got a little dome in the background. See that there? On the drawing that they made for it.
At least they left that in.
Yeah, it almost looks like an advertisement. Weird. Okay, I think we saw this one. This was the that Knox Church, right? And then the YMCA next to it.
Yeah.
I'll move on.
But we saw the YMCA in the before photo, and that was a big, burly-looking, beefy building.
Yeah.
And look how flattened it is there. Wow.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. They destroyed that. Maybe like we said, maybe they had a cyclone break. They had to blow up some buildings to stop the cyclone. I don't know. It's ridiculous. My Friday video is all about the Great Fires and going through the narratives on each one of those, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. How the narrative repeats itself there.
It's that rubber stamping all the time, right? It's just they've got a handful of narratives, and this place gets that narrative, that place. It's like they just, I don't know, they roll the dice. It's like they're playing Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Oh, I rolled a 7 and a 2, so this town gets this narrative. Stamp. All right, what's next?
So this is a Presbyterian church, also gets hit by the old cyclone. And remember, this is 1912, right? So how long is this supposed to have been standing before it gets totaled?
Yeah, is this a 10-year-old building, or is this a 50-year-old building? I mean, damage aside, it looks like it's been there a while.
The narrative only allows for it to be there for no more than 10 years, that's for sure. So, sus.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, Kathy Childers saying the fire narratives. Yeah. That's they didn't even have to worry about a great fire in Regina. This cyclone took care of that.
Yep. So here we have more cyclone damage, and remember the rail tracks start off a year before the cyclone. And then you can see the tracks in the road here, and there's probably a lot of debris on the road, but it makes you wonder, were the tracks only put in a year before this? Or are we looking at some problems with the narrative?
Yeah, or the track's been there much longer than that.
Exactly. And is this all just a reset storyline, you know? I couldn't find an asylum there. The telephone exchange. Here you get to see the tracks.
See, and there now we've got a brick road here.
Nice looking.
Which would make sense on any main line, or well, any line that's got your trolley or your tram.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can see the damage here. Another brick building just destroyed here in the foreground. We've got some wood framed as well. Big silo back there. Something on sideways. You see that there? That's
yeah, grain elevators knocked over.
Yeah,
that's what that is. It says Winnipeg Elevators.
Yes,
that's the name of the grain company, by the way. This isn't a photo from Winnipeg.
Yeah. But yeah, you got the streetcar track and the brick pavers in there. So,
wow, let's look at the destruction.
Yeah, that's the YMCA, and this is the Methodist Episcopal. So now we have a third church taking the brunt of the attack from the cyclone. That's the third church being damaged. ME Church, Methodist Episcopal, right?
Yep, those churches had to go. Those churches had to go.
Sweet.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Because it just destroys their narrative, their timeline, doesn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, they assign any build date to a church or any other big building for that matter in this town that's got completely wiped out by the cyclone. They could say, "Oh, it was only built 5 years prior. What a shame!" Right? And then
there is
a lot of these are looking much older than 1910-ish.
Yeah. We will see one that says it was completely rebuilt right after the cyclone. Here's another look at. You have the columns in the front here.
Wow.
Quite a bit of damage, eh? I suspect we're seeing the church, another view of the church in YMCA there.
Yeah. I think it's that same street.
Yeah. I don't know if this is saying Ahu building. I'm not sure what that means after the cyclone. But another massive structure.
Oh, that's the Donahue building.
Donahue.
Yeah, I remember the Donahue building.
So when did Yeah, you have to wonder, when did they build this? Remember, they only get like 10 years before this. Remember, we said the Parliament building's getting built and the City Hall's getting built. How many buildings are getting?
That one school was getting built. The post office was getting built.
Yeah.
And this is, again, I mean, it's not huge, but for a small Canadian prairie town, that's a big building.
But that's not small, that's for sure. And it's frivolous with the decoration up here, and yeah, it's a sturdy building too. Very sturdy building. And just when you thought you had seen all the churches, the Metropolitan Church and the YWCA.
Yeah, both Ys got destroyed.
Yeah, of course. That's 4 churches now in the cycle.
4 churches and 2 Ys.
Yeah, if we can count them all, we had Knox, we had a Presbyterian, Methodist, Episcopal, and now we have a Metropolitan Church. 4 churches, yeah. I believe I'm correct there.
Neymar's got a great point there too. He says another confusing thing. For example, Hotel Vancouver's built 3 times. Yeah, there's 3 different, like not 3 phases, 3 separate, completely new.
Yeah.
Hotel Vancouver's built. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it stood for a short period of time too. The second one was unbelievable.
It's kind of like the Crystal Palace in London, right? There was 2 supposedly different. Well, the same one was dismantled, moved, and rebuilt, and then it burnt down.
Yeah. Hard to trust much of the narrative. Look at the devastation here. and the horse and buggies and
Wow, man.
The street looks pretty good though. Like it's dead straight. You got sidewalk on each side.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of debris in the streets. Not even a lot of what you would expect. Okay, somebody's piled up the debris. There's a couple of piles there, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah. It snuck in the okay, this is interesting too. That looks like the Capitol building back here. Remember we saw that shot of the Capitol building being built? I would suspect that shot was coming back this way because the other side has to be the lake. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Remember that?
It looks like the Capitol building. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we saw that shot where it was blank?
Yes.
There was nothing behind it, but we're seeing here in a massive neighborhoods.
Yeah, you can clearly see that there's houses and larger buildings, whatever they may be, in behind it.
Yeah. So a lot going on here in 1912.
So I guess you have the building, then the road, then another building, and then the lake after that. So the building isn't right on the shore of the lake, obviously, but it's within, let's say, 100 yards of the lake?
Yeah, it's close for sure because we see that picture where they're all swimming in the lake as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what is this now? Methodist. And did we see the Methodist church? Is this a fifth church now? It says down here. It says Methodist Church. You can barely see it. It's cut off.
I don't think we've seen this one. This might be the fifth church.
Wow. This is the devil's cyclone. Hates the churches.
Yeah, it's getting personal here now. Wow,
Yeah. Amazing. This. There it is again. We saw this one, the Presbyterian, but that one I do like that one. Okay, we'll move on from the cyclone and look at some more of the early architecture here in Regina. I had to do a double take on this. I didn't think this was Regina. Like, wait, hold on a second.
It looks like the Toronto Stock Exchange building on, what is that, Bloor Street? Bay Street?
Yeah. In Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just your, it's just your run-of-the-mill Prairie Town Bank, I guess.
That's unbelievable. Canadian Bank of Commerce, CIBC.
Oh, yeah, of course. The crappy sign painted up on the top side of it. Jeez.
Unbelievable. And then we have the King's Hotel over here adjacent to, and look at the top of this, and you're going to see that they took this part off and they cut it off right here. You'll see.
Really? They cut all those dormers and everything off.
I'll see if I'll jump to it right away. Ready? And go. King's Hotel. No, it's not the same.
What a shame. No, that can't be. What? It says King's Hotel on the side of it. So it's got to be.
Right?
Unless it's a new version.
Let's see. I'll do it one more time. We've got arches on the bottom. Arches up here. Yes. Here, I'll go back again. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've just cut it off right here. We'll do it one more. So you have arches. You've got these square windows, and you've got the short arches, and then you have this dental molding.
Yes.
And arches, square windows, arches. Cut it off. Right there.
Yeah, it looks that way. They put a bloody flat roof with tar and gravel on it, and cut off that majestic old roof.
It's a great example of that, of what they do, isn't it? They take away this. Wow.
Now, would they blame that on the cyclone, though?
Very possible. I didn't see that, but I didn't dig that far into it. It's possible. But again, what is a hotel like this?
Looks pretty beefy for the top of that to be blown off by a cyclone, though.
Yeah, that's very unique shape up there, too. You can I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's a strange looking shape. I wish I could have had a better picture of this one. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's get a little closer. Wow, multi-storied dormers with a very steep slope roof.
Yes.
What's at the very top here? I don't know, but that's really, really unique.
It's like the fencing and then some kind of relief work on those. Yeah.
My God,
Almost
that's
like
beautiful.
balustrades or something. I don't know. Wow.
And very unique, right? Wow.
And of course, you got to throw your crappy fire escapes on the front to ruin the look of the whole thing.
And then eventually,
and the nice gingerbread work around that, the top layer of arched windows too, right?
Yep. Yeah. Who's doing this, and when is this getting built? Again, what are we in here? The 30s? Look at this down here too. Going down, sir.
Yes. Jeez.
Going down.
It's very old world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Does it?
Look at the wrought iron awning above the door that's held up by the chains and all that. I mean, those things are usually quite intricate as well.
Yeah, that's what I call a banger. Old world banger. Not supposed to be there. That should have disappeared. Just looking at I scrolled forward, so. And let me go back a little bit here. This is the dark hall as a part of the school narrative again, and I showed that because I wanted to show the interior, which still stands, part of one of the universities there, with a double pipe organ action on either side here. So,
sheesh.
Nice curved roof.
Yeah. Again, a lot of effort, a lot of extra effort. But acoustically, that would be fantastic. The pipes just come right up into the curvature of that ceiling.
The pipes are calling, Frankie. The pipes are calling.
Aye, to be sure, laddie.
What are you thinking so far of Regina? You think there's
there's a lot of surprises, man. Like I said, I had my own folder of Cyclone photos, but I mean, this other stuff I haven't seen.
It's too much. There's too much stuff for that early time period. I think it's
and that really, really shrunken timeline, right? Basically, you've and the lateness of this cyclone, this reset. This isn't some 1891 fire. This is
1912
cyclone.
Yeah, it's like a pre-World War I disaster. This is the government house, they call it. The government house. Having some of that, some of the look we expect to see.
I like those grand entrance where your chariot, supposedly, or your horse and wagon will pull right up under there.
That's right. Yeah.
So you could go out in the snow, and not get too snowed on there, bud.
That's right. Yeah. We have an old rickety streetcar nearing the end of its days here in Regina.
Still a beauty, though.
And nice looking building back here too. Not to be outdone. Little brick action.
Yeah, some nice stacking there.
Yeah.
Because that's not extra work at all. When you're trying to bang up all these buildings in your booming town.
It all came up right quick. Yeah. All right, there's that King's Hotel again one last time. It's the King's Hotel because they got a sign on the side of the building.
If I was the king, I wouldn't be impressed by the sign. I would just be impressed by all the masonry and the gingerbreading. That would be more impressive than that sign.
Yeah.
Even that little Imperial Bank right next to it, just the little one there.
Yeah.
Again, stacked brick along the top of that one too. They just...
The little Imperial Bank, not the big Imperial Bank.
That one, right. They just put giant pillars in that one instead. We're going to make this one look Greco-Roman.
That one had to go, didn't it? That one had to go.
Can't explain that one, so bye. Bye.
Yeah, this is what you get. And yeah. Wow. So this is supposed to be 1920? What? Now I'm confused. If this is 1920, what the heck is this? Is this after? Did they build on it? That doesn't make sense.
No, that's got to be...
Something doesn't make sense here.
You're right. It doesn't make sense.
Another thing.
I think that photo's older. Like the photo you're on right now is older.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. I'm looking at the cars.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Strange Strange.
I mean, I'm not a grease monkey. I'm no car expert. I'm not a gearhead or anything, but I
Yeah.
generally can tell 20s from 30s from 40s cars,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's through 30s, 40s here for sure. I is my guess. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna move on though because man, I got a lot of file left here, so I'll try to move a little quicker. Move on to the Hotel Capel or the
Yeah.
Chateau Capel. The Grand Trunk Pacific Railway began building this. Well, let's go over to the Wikipedia, shall we, and get a little bit of narrative. Chateau Capel was a Grand Trunk Pacific Railway hotel planned for Regina. Started in 1913, right in that time, right after the cyclone, when the rebuild process was taking place. I guess they thought it was a good time to build the Chateau Capel. Rising costs, labor and material shortages, and the bankruptcy of the railway itself stopped the project before it was completed. The unfinished structure was eventually dismantled.
Jeez. So they took all that time, money, and effort, and expense, and yada yada, and logistics to get it started, and then they just decided, now we're going to just dismantle it.
It's in the Scottish baronial style. Here we
Well,
go.
to be sure, laddie.
Concrete pilings were sunk in 1913 to support the 10-story structure. As well, there were 2 sub-stories of reinforced concrete basement under the northwest corner of Wascana Park.
Very reminiscent of the other construction job on the legislature building where they had all the brick delivered on site ready to go, and then they changed their minds at the last minute. This one, they changed their minds even into the build.
This one's confusing, and some of them are saying this is a part of the this is what it would look like in progress, and the others are saying it's just a sketch. This is just a sketch of what it looked like. Did this building exist? Has this been scrubbed from history? I wonder. I don't know. Seems really strange. But
it wouldn't surprise me if it's a railroad hotel that at one time it did exist.
And then I wonder, I think we talked about this before we went on air. I wonder if they turned it into this at some point or something. Some of the superstructure was used. I don't know.
Right, because this is on the same site, the exact same site as that other one, right?
I believe so. I don't know for sure. This is me just riffing here on this, but it's interesting anyway. It
looks like, because it's got that same sort of tree-lined street.
Yeah.
With the landscaping in front of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm thinking it could be. So yeah, possibly they just built the newer one on the footprint of what they say was the dismantled older one, previous one.
Anyway, it's suspicious.
Or did they, I don't know, did they brutalize the old one and turn it into this?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm suggesting. If they just dumbed it down, but still you have a lot of the superstructure as a part of this one. Especially the bowels, if they went a couple stories underground. I mean, it's kind of similar, right? You can see how you got the 2 sides and you got that central bit, and you get the 2 sides and you got a central bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they could have easily just removed all of the, the gloriousness, and then just actually even skinned it in a new masonry too, like a facading brick.
And then built this central area up a bit further, and who knows?
Yeah, it's possible.
We're speculating.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen that, but on this particular one, yeah, we're just spitballing. But we have seen examples of that before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We got a cute little library, probably a Carnegie. Don't know for sure.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. If Calgary and Edmonton have them, Regina for sure would have it, especially being the capital, right?
Yeah. Well, look at what we have here. I don't know if we can read that there.
Yes, of course, our buddies, the Mason dudes.
You can see the compass and T-square right here. Kind of gets a bit grainy, but that's a big building, and it's early. Big bricker.
Yeah, that's quite large.
Yeah,
Definitely had a presence. No, I mean, no surprise, of course, but
of course. Yeah.
you can see on the side of the building on the left there, it actually goes up further than the roof line on the sort of the
Yeah.
front of the photo.
Adjacent building with a nice arch entry too over here.
Ah, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's but a lot of large brick and stone buildings here at that early time period.
Especially when you look at the building right next to it, the little wooden
Yeah, it's
frames.
beauty. That's a nice
You
little
know.
cabin. Yeah. That's what you expect, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's dwarfed, completely dwarfed by these massive structures. Yeah. So I think this was the Metropolitan one they say was destroyed in the cyclone, and I think the caption I saw was that was rebuilt immediately after the cyclone, is what they tell us. We saw this. We saw it early on in the slideshow as well.
Yeah, dome and all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit strange narrative going on there, I think. Not sure what to make of any of that. I'm always suspicious when they say they miraculously rebuilt it in no time flat, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe it was already partially built and they just finished it. They came along and finished it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Normal school, make sure everybody turns out to be normal.
Of course. Because that's what educational institutions do. They make you normal.
That's what they do.
Right.
You must adjust to the new normal. Yeah. This one is even called the new normal school.
As opposed to the old normal.
Yeah.
Wow, that one's a beauty, though.
Yeah. And the juxtaposition of the person on the horseback and then the solid bricker in the background. Right?
Yes. Yeah, I was noticing that too.
Yeah.
And
looking like a rubble heap or something going on here in the foreground. I don't know. Anyway, no shortage of these types of buildings, really, in Regina.
Definitely a huge building.
What do they call this one? Oh, Regina College. Okay, we might have seen this one earlier. I think we did.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, you've got between 5 and 7 months build time on a lot of these before winter hits.
That's right. Yeah.
Post office weather and a lot of cold blowing wind, a lot of snow.
Yeah. Beauty post office. Real beauty post office.
Yeah, I love the roof on that. And then you get your little fencing around the top.
Yeah. Very in keeping with the Capitol. This top part here, reminding me of the top of the legislature. I think it's 06 to 08, somewhere in that timeline. They say that they put this thing up. No slouch here either. The Northern Bank.
The Northern Bank. Huh, I'm not familiar with that one. I guess Northwest Territories.
Yeah, maybe.
Saskatchewan formerly being, but I mean, we don't have a Northern Bank in Alberta that I know of, and we were part of the Northwest Territories.
Yeah.
It's just odd. Maybe it was a Saskatchewan thing.
Yeah, it's modern, so they still have it. And this is a nice little street view as well.
Yeah, see, that's your postcard you want to send. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably the 19-teens, maybe 20s, 1920s.
You got your trolley, you got a car, and you got a horse and buggy in the photo. So you got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you're covering all your bases. Yep. All right, we'll keep going here. I have a construction photo. This is one of the colleges. Again, almost looks like a destruction photo. Seems weird the way that it's coming together here.
Looks like there's some malarkey with the photo editing too, or something.
Yeah, like the pixelated top here. The crane work here doesn't look all that believable. Here's a nice little construction shack in the foreground.
Yep, there you go. Oh, yieldy ladder lean. There you go.
Yes, the ladder lean, right on. Yeah, and the low windows again. So, I don't know. I thought I'd throw it in there though. There's
you built your fresh construction. Say you don't level the ground, so all the windows in the bottom are all the same height. No, you leave it all slopey and you just build it so that your tradesmen and your framers and your stoneworkers all have to make all those lower windows different heights because the ground is sloped. It's weird.
They're saying this is 1913. This one too. Yeah.
Chickens in the foreground, by the way.
Yeah, chickens.
There you go.
That's right.
Just chickens wandering around the job site.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on around here?
It's a prairie town. Hey, it's a prairie town.
Yeah, that's true. Probably painted in those chickens.
This is apparently the inauguration of the rail lines in 1911, pre-cyclone. I guess 1911 was when they were told these are first busted out. So
yeah, they said they started off with 4, so I guess that should be all 4 of them there.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. I like the sign that says signs back here. See that? Signs.
I always love it when you see a sign that says signs, and the other one that I love is when you see a sign that says eat. Not, like Chris's restaurant or Frankie's place. No, just eat.
Yeah. This is the nice. I like that city hall. I really like that city hall.
Yeah, for sure.
Beauty.
That's a lot of work for a little farming town, though. I know I keep saying it, but
yeah, well, that's the point, right? That's our point here with what we're doing. Something doesn't fit. Speaking of, what is this? Westminster Presbyterian. This one.
Impressive dome. Wow, and pillars. Huh.
Why not?
Just have a nice Roman-looking church, I guess.
Yeah. Another church. You get the little street lights too. Right, the ones that dangle over the streets themselves. Another look at the streets. There's your brick pavers.
Yes, now that makes sense on the trolley or the tram line. 11th Avenue. Yeah, that's their main high street, the main drag. It's 11th Ave. Yeah.
But the bricks are looking, just all this infrastructure is looking pretty skookum. Pretty, it's. Yeah.
Wide streets. Again, we've covered this before on the channel. Even these, what start off as these little, 2,000 people, shanty prairie towns, but it's like they anticipated 2 lines of streetcars and 2 lanes of traffic, so we better make them nice and wide there, fellers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The forethought that went into all this. Now, look at this. I really like the fountain here.
Well, I've never seen this photo before. That's lovely. Yeah.
Now, fountains looking to me like a part of the energetics of the old world structure, where the buildings needed some sort of cooling mechanism or grounding mechanism. When you get into the harnessing of the ether and all of these things, I think the fountains played a huge role, and I think they were converted into war memorials. A lot of the fountains.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And in fact, here in Calgary at the Memorial Park, where our Carnegie Library is, by the way, there used to be a fountain, and now it's a war memorial. But yeah, I think water was very, very important. Obviously, when we see old star forts built in and around waterways or in water, like right out in the ocean and stuff.
Yeah.
The canal systems, all of that.
Check out the light on the top too. That looks like a light to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a light on the top of that fountain.
Interesting, right?
Which would light it up beautifully at night, I guess, if it is a light.
Can you imagine?
Pretty spectacular. That's sophisticated, though, for his dusty little town,
Very, very much so. With the plumbing and the electrical. Beautiful.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they couldn't do it or they weren't capable of doing it. It's just a lot of time and money for the short timeline and the limited population.
Yep. This is the Rex Theater. Nice looking mansard roof on top. Some statue work going on up top there. Not sure what that's supposed to be. Decoration, I think, but pretty neat.
Hi, SP. We're looking at some old world buildings in Regina, Saskatchewan, up here in Canada.
Yeah, let's. Why don't we explain the show? Maybe there's people watching that have never tuned in. This is Knuckleheads broadcast. Frankie and I are both Canadian fellas, and we pick a location in Canada and dig up what we can of the architecture and some of the historical narrative that maybe doesn't fit what you'd expect. That kind of stuff. That's what we do here on Knuckleheads.
Yeah, so we basically, with a few breaks in between, do a monthly show where we just randomly pick a Canadian city from coast to coast to coast, or based on the viewers' suggestions of a Canadian city.
Yep.
And we just kind of do a deep dive with photos, and like Chris said, looking into the official story, the official narrative. It's very surprising what you'd find, just like everywhere else in the realm. The smallest little, let's say in the U.S., the smallest little dusty little Midwest towns have got these big, extravagant, glorious buildings that seem to exceed the needs of the population and the time builds, or the build times. Same thing up here in Canada, in our breadbasket, in the prairie provinces.
Yeah, we've got a real problem with the timeline here, folks, with history. Real problem.
Especially with buildings like these,
Yeah. We saw this school earlier, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, look, all the children out front taking a picture. Wonder if they all had parents. We're coming to the end of the file here. Decent sized file for sure.
Yeah, a lot more than I expected for. Well, I mean, I was kind of torn because Regina, I mean, it's the capital city, and I thought it was the largest, but surprise, surprise, it's only the second largest. So, but based on that, I thought, okay, we're going to see a lot of stuff, right? It's on the rail line, supposedly that's the narrative, the railroad, yada, yada. But then I remembered, well, wait, they had the cyclone. So I bet you they're going to say a lot of stuff was destroyed, but we're seeing a lot of stuff here that's just incredible.
Yeah, it's quite a bit to offer for a prairie town, that's for sure. The Grey Nuns Hospital. This is the St. Chad's school, sort of ish. It still stands here. It is in the modern day. We can get a good look at the brickwork here.
Yeah, that's impressive. Again, very beefy.
I believe a Flemish bond, if I'm not mistaken. I might have.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, neat looking building. Skookum, definitely nice looking doorway.
Of course, you got to have your turret style tower up there.
Yeah, right. That's just how they built back then. Another one of the streetcars. This is 1911. Again, the first year they are in operation. Really?
That's it. You know what? I think I don't know. It didn't sink in on the other streetcar photo we saw from roughly the same time period. That's a large car.
It is. It is. You're right. Maybe they have the date wrong.
A lot of the early cars, cities or towns started out with would be half to 2/3 that size.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a generous size streetcar.
Yeah, they had some big ones, yeah, especially toward the end there. We saw this one earlier, this railway street. I can't remember what the designation was. It was a Hudson's Bay Company or something along those lines.
Built on a slope there going down to the left.
Yeah.
Very impressive dome on that, though.
Yeah, it's a nice looking building for sure. And there's a fountain. I don't know if it's the same fountain, but it's, I don't think it is. But no, I don't think it is.
No, that looks like a different one. That's beautiful too.
Interesting, like a central fountain feature, right? Very symmetrical in this.
And really not much else around it at all. Just a huge park.
Yeah, and then maybe that was the church we saw recently.
Yeah, with the dome.
Yeah. All right, we have
a massive park space. Wow.
Yeah, nice too, right? Really nice, clean, and
Sure, a lot of symbology in the the paved pathways and so on.
Yep. So this is the Union Station, train station. Looking pretty well put together.
Yeah, for sure.
And the last one I have is a YMCA. I don't know if this is the one that got.
That would be pre-cyclone, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and obviously it wasn't standing by itself. This is what they do in these postcards, guys. They isolate the building itself and they put a false background around it, right? It's pretty common for them to do that to feature the building that they're trying to feature.
Yeah, if they want to do a postcard or they're trying to attract business or tourism, they would release a series of postcards or picture cards, and they will remove all of the adjacent buildings, a lot of the background, and basically then paint in, a blue sky and some clouds, and then they just touch up the black and white photo by painting and colorizing it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times that when you see a photo that looks photo manipulated, it's because it's being prepped for something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it also shows the ability they have to tamper with visuals from the past to give a false
absolutely
impression.
I mean, when you see drawn in hoists and then they label the photograph as a construction photo when it's just a crumbled building with some hand crane type hoists drawn on, then I mean, obviously that's not being manipulated for a postcard. That's been manipulated for other reasons. But yeah, they completely had the ability to manipulate all of these things.
Yeah. So that's
even back in the 1880s, 1890s, like in the Victorian era, that was the fad, actually, was to go to a professional photographer, get your photo taken, and have it manipulate. So like you're holding your own head in your lap, or you're juggling your family's heads.
That's right.
Your wife and kids' heads. It was weird.
Or you're talking to a spirit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the guy's deceased wife's face coming out of the smoke coming out of his pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So they used to do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
The Victorians were into the macabre, and they had a lot of seances and weird stuff, and that went right up until the 1920s.
Yeah.
It was kind of a fashionable, weird trend.
Getting a real Halloween vibe off this conversation. You can kind of sense the spookiness of it all.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got a couple.
What are you going as for Halloween, Chris?
Just myself. That'll scare enough people, I think. I'll just speak my mind. That's scary.
Put on a plaid shirt and a toque and carry around an axe and I'm a lumberjack.
Yeah, I'm just facilitator. I'm a trick-or-treater facilitator. That's what I do. Making sure.
I'm sure the children have got their costumes all picked out already for sure. And
costumes, trick-or-treating partners, routes, trick-or-treating routes, streets they're gonna hit, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a week away, really. A week and a day. So yeah.
Yeah.
What are they going as? Do you want to say? You don't want to say?
I don't. You know what? I should know, but I don't. Characters that I'm not familiar with and things that they're interested in. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're going.
Although I think my oldest is going as Trump. He's got a Trump mask. He'll get suspended for that for sure.
They'll send him home from school for sure. No, you can't. But this is Canada. This guy's an American politician. Who cares? No, doesn't matter. Go home and change.
No, his teacher told him the other day that he's a fascist and just as bad as Hitler. So,
it's literally.
Literally.
Yeah. Literally Hitler. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway.
I mean, my granddaddy told me a long time ago, this politics, it's left, right, it's two wings of the same bird, but you got to laugh at what, how they point and screech at each other. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we're in funny times right now too. Funny times for sure. It's a COVID hangover, and what direction is everybody going to go in? I think, and yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. SP in the chat says, "I'm Canadian too, from Calgary." Well, howdy, neighbor. That's where I am. I'm in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the Sunalta area, so don't come and find me and punch me in the face, please.
I'm in Prince George.
I dox myself.
Yeah, Prince George, British Columbia. up kind of in the mountains, kind of between the two ranges, the Rockies and the coastals. We're in what you'd call a plateau, although it doesn't really look like a plateau. We still have mountains up here, but we're tucked away, I always like to say. So
yeah, and where Calgary's kind of at the foothills of the the Rocky Mountain Range, the Eastern Range, and then you're in between those ranges.
Yeah. So yeah, Regina did not disappoint. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen photos of the legislature building, so of course, you kind of know going in, right, that if the city's the capital city of its province, that okay, you're going to see a pretty impressive legislature building. But so I knew, or at least I thought I knew what I was getting into specifically with that building, but it's so much bigger than I thought it would be. Like, it's quite huge for even what is today still currently, the population of Saskatchewan is not huge. Again, no offense to any Saskatchewanians, Saskatchewanites, Saskatchewanians.
I'm not no. You know what really surprised me is the population spark, and then the development that happens just way, way, way too quickly and way too well planned. You saw how well laid out everything was there.
Yeah, well, they can hand wave that as well. It was so flat; it was easy. But then they also say, well, yeah, but they also had to be built around this spring, this natural spring.
Yeah.
That they initially, dammed up that creek to form that lake. So then you think, well, then it's kind of hard to grid around a lake.
Yeah.
Because obviously the lake isn't going to be shaped like a square or a rectangle. I mean, unless it's a man-made lake, but that'd be the crappiest man-made lake ever. Let's make it a square.
Yeah, hard 90s.
Really? Yeah. Like, really? You don't want to make it, shaped like a bean or an amoeba or something?
Like
nope.
Queen Victoria's head.
I say that would be lovely.
Queen Victoria's head.
All right, we should be wrapping this up. We can keep going.
So. They're going to shut us down for all this insulting the poor Queen. Our apologies, Mum. Apologies.
Sorry, Mum. Sorry about that, Mum.
Sorry, Mum. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, this was a blast, as always. And I was quite surprised with Regina as well. A lot of buildings that I thought would, there was a lot that are still standing, even, with the whole cyclone thing. But yeah, the build times, they're much too contracted, I think, for a lot of these.
Yeah.
And the narrative too is that, people were moving out here to become farmers and ranchers. They weren't coming out here to be construction workers.
Yeah. You
might build your ranch house maybe, and that would, and your barn.
Yeah.
But what do you build your farm and then you go into town on weekends to help build the post office? Like, I don't, And then people again, they'll say, well, then people just came in, following the work. Well, yeah, but the work was going on everywhere at the same time. So how does that work? It's crazy.
And then that King's Hotel one was a weird one too. The timeline on that.
Yeah, and the changing of the roof line.
Yeah.
The removal of the mansard roof and those gables. Like you said, a double stacked gable. Very unique.
Yeah, interesting.
Vince, for your mom, as a Saskatchewanian, I thank you. Well, thank you. It's good to know. Good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do you think's on the menu for the next one?
Well, is there anyone left in the chat that wants to see anywhere in particular? I guess we'll throw that out first.
Yeah, we should do that. There's still 84 people watching between the two channels, so thank you very much. And again, thumbs up and subscribe and share and all that YouTube stuff. If you haven't already.
Check out Mark's comment there. I put it up.
Regina will now constantly be in my head. Yeah. Well, of course, you're, as a young, healthy man, you should always have Regina on the brain.
That's true.
At least that's how I look at it.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
I can't stand it. Somebody's saying Michigan. Oh, great suggestion, but sorry, it's got to be Canadian there, eh, buddy?
We're knuckleheads on this one.
At least for the Knucklehead show. Chris would probably have a look at, somewhere in Michigan.
Oh, I just hit Michigan.
And it has, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I know you have.
Yeah, quite a few places in Michigan.
Tim J just puts a couple of dots. Still thinking, processing.
Yeah.
Collating.
What about Quebec? We haven't done Quebec. I don't even know if we've done anywhere in Quebec.
Yeah, we could do Montreal, Quebec City. We could do actually Quebec City would be a trip. The only thing we've done in Quebec City is when we did our hotels episode and we looked at Chateau Frontenac.
Yep. Quebec City would be it would be a long show for sure.
Quebec City would be a banger because you've got the extended timeline or history going further back, so they say, right? The 1600s.
Yep. Are you saying are we putting it in stone here? Are we scratching it into the
Well, I mean, it would definitely be a one to take into consideration. Sage is shouting out Hamilton.
We did Hamilton.
We did Hamilton. We did Hamilton and Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Hamilton. That was kind of an earlier episode. I think episode 5 or 7 or
Hamilton was amazing, though. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Full of surprises. Well, actually, that's always the case, though. He's saying, okay, Halifax.
Oh.
So we got Quebec, Halifax, St. Albert.
I think we'll have to settle this with a good old hockey tournament.
Stay tuned for the hockey game at 6 o'clock Eastern, 6:30 in Newfoundland.
Keep your stick on the ice there, Frankie. Keep your stick on the ice.
Oh, I gotta tell you, those boys, they really know how to play some hockey there. That's take it from me there, but Don Cherry, boy, I tell you, these guys, they can play.
Don Cherry.
Terrible Don Cherry.
No, it was good. It was good.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
we don't have to decide on the air, or do we?
Well, we did last time, but we don't have to decide on the air. No, we can. We definitely take all of your suggestions. Victoria is another one. Yeah, Victoria.
We did Victoria.
I think we've done Victoria.
Yeah.
We've got a playlist because this is episode 13 already there, eh, buddy?
Check out the catalog if you're interested. Check out the catalog of shows. There's a couple under our belts here. We have a couple.
But yeah, we definitely will look at Halifax. We have not done. St. Albert we haven't done. Quebec City we have not done. So we'll keep it down to those 3 and we'll kind of narrow it down from there. Yeah, Ms. Grandma saying surprise us. Oh, for sure there, eh?
Yeah.
For sure. You know it. So you want to anything else you want to mention real quick before I let you go?
Yeah, sure. On the channel, I just did a big interview recently with over on Rumble. The channel's called News Treason. I linked it in my commentary section or community section, sorry, on the YouTube. So go check that one out. That was a real introduction to the old world conversation.
Very nice.
And then live show coming this Saturday with John and Melissa Reiser, who I recently wrote a book with. It's going to be released in Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, November 28th. I think that is this year. But we're going to do a little special on their recent trip to Washington, D.C. They've got a lot of boots on the ground photographs. So if you're interested in D.C., check that out on Saturday. We're going to be doing that. And then about a month from now, I have managed to lock down Mr. Flat Earth Dave himself, David Weiss.
Excuse me, sorry.
He's going to be coming on the channel, and I'm going to try to get him to talk more about the old world than the shape of the realm in which we inhabit. So we'll see how that goes as well. So keep an eye out for those. And then, of course, the regularly scheduled Friday videos on my channel. So there's my big channel plug.
There you go. So make sure, I can't imagine anybody who's subscribed to me is not subscribed to you, but make sure if you're not, please head over to Chris's channel, Old World Exploration. Don't forget to plug your books too there, eh, buddy? You got 2 of them for crying out loud.
Yeah, 2 books that are already available for purchase on demolished buildings in North America. If you haven't, they're really nice to throw on the coffee table, and the person that you're friends with or acquaintances with or family with that maybe isn't into the old world might stumble across it and start flipping through. And it's dialogue wise, you're not going to hear too much that will turn them off. I call it a nice norming entry point into the old world phenomenon that we like to research, Frankie and I. So those will make a nice Christmas gift as well.
There you go. That's what I was getting at, buddy. There you go.
'Tis the season.
Us Canadians were so polite and nice that we're terrible self-promoters, eh? Because
You're right.
we're too shy.
You're right. You're right. And
we're bashful.
I don't want to come across as a grifter, like I'm in it for the money. I'm in this old world game for the money. That's a real lucrative living to choose.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're all living in these castles up on these mountains, don't you know?
Yeah.
That's why Chris and I live in the mountains, you see, is because, we just live in these grand old castles from all the money we make doing, alternative history, old world videos.
Oh, the view counts. Those view counts just rake in the millions on the view counts. So.
Yeah. Humble. There you go. Thank you, Ms. Grandma. Humble. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. So I've got the Halloween special for my live show coming up Sunday, 27th, a couple of days early, but I do a live show every Sunday on my channel. So that'll be the Halloween special. Then every Friday on my channel, Boots on the Ground. I usually explore Calgary, find some old world buildings or what I suspect are old world, and give a looky-loo around and see what I can find. And also, every once in a while, a guy gets gets in his head to go on a road trip. So I've done Edmonton, Boots on the Ground, and a couple of little prairie towns to the south of Calgary. Those are always fun. So I got a nice one coming up where I just came back from a tour of High River with a buddy of mine. So yeah, look for that on the channel. I'll put that up as a premiere so we can watch it together and chat in the side chat at the same time.
Oh, and grab one of Frankie's shirts while you're at it. He sent me one of his t-shirts in the summer there. It's a real nice fit, nice cotton material.
Yeah, I've got those shirts made. I don't have a store or anything. I'm a pretty small channel, but it's just as a thank you. So if people support my channel with, any kind of channel donation, then yeah, or if you help out a lot behind the scenes, I've got a lot of good friends of the channel that send me show ideas or send me great photos, so that, I'll send them a t-shirt for sure. Got a new t-shirt coming up, a new design.
Nice.
Want me to show it real quick? You might get a kick out of it, actually. It's pretty good. Just pull it up here real quick, and then we'll let you guys go.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I like doing the evenings too. Maybe we'll try to aim for an evening next time too. Nice. Shenanigans. I call shenanigans.
Definitely. Come on, the horse is pulling the streetcar trolley. Get out of here with that. Take off.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah, so that's the new design. The old one's my logo, which is, I call that the New West Reset Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, speaking of shenanigans, I think that's going to call it.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
So, hey, everybody, thank you very, very much for tuning in, especially sort of this middle of the week, Wednesday, and a little bit later, sort of a prime time hour. So really, really appreciate all your support. And just on behalf of myself, Frankie, New West Reset, really, really appreciate all your time. And Chris, as always, fantastic. Really had a good time as always.
Pleasure.
We like to have fun with this.
Yeah. Couple of
all right, everybody.
Boys.
What's that? Sorry.
We're just a couple of good-humored Canadian boys, really.
Well, that's what being a Knucklehead's all about there, eh?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll both see you again on the weekend. Take care out there. Be careful. Keep your stick on the ice.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again real soon. All right. Okay. Cheers, everybody.
Take off, you hosers.
I think that was like our best show ever.